Welcome to all of you in the science stream. Today I, Mohit Babar, your physics teacher as well as your coordinator, is here to instruct you, guide you and teach you. So without wasting any time, let's start with the paper pattern of physics. In the physics paper pattern, you have 37 questions, means question number 1 to 10 comprises 1 mark each, and these questions are the objective question. Multiple question, objective question, in each question there are the 4 options and you have to choose just one option. Then 11 to 15 questions are the fill-ups, means fill-ups, fill in the blanks. It's again comprises 1 mark. Then 16 to 20 are conceptuals. So when you the conceptuals, that's for the basic questions, that's for the conceptual question. 1 mark question means you can say that whatever you will read in the 11th physics, so you have to read it very carefully क्योंकि इसमें जो छोटे-छोटे questions आते हैं that comprises just 1 mark and that is called as a conceptual question. Then move on to the slot of 21 to 27. This 21 to 27 question slot comprises 2 marks each. Then 28 to 34 comprises 3 marks that are mainly the derivations, the numericals and so on. And the question number slot number 35 to 37, it comprises 5 marks each. In this case, in this slot, you are dealing with the large answer questions. So total we have the 37 questions and the total marks is 70. So it is written on the board. Then move on to the practical aspect. Practical is a very important part in the 11th standard. Means you have to perform the experiments, you have to make the project files, you have to make the files, and then there are the marks of the viva also. Means whatever you will do in the practical examination, whatever you will do in the lab, you have to express it and that will provide you the 30 marks. So there is a total of 100 marks in the 11th standard. So that's for the paper pattern. So that is not for the 11th only, that is for the 12th also. So we have to learn according to this pattern. We will concentrate on objective, we will concentrate on the fill-ups, conceptuals, 2 marks questions, then the derivations and the numericals, and then move on to the last one, that is called as a 5 mark question. So that's about your physics pattern. Okay, now we have to deal with the contents of the 11th physics. Means in the 11th standard, what are the various chapters that we have to discuss. So in the 11th physics, we have 2 books. There are so many chapters in the first book as well as the second book. So at first we will discuss about the chapters or the contents of the first book. So listen very carefully. About the first book is having the first chapter as a mathematical tools. Now what is this mathematical tools? In this mathematical tools, we have to read those formulas of mathematics which we have to use in the physics. Means just like the differentiation, integration, logarithmic terms and so on, slope, etc. that we have to read in this chapter, that is called as a mathematical tool. This chapter is very important for the bio students because the math student will definitely deal with these things in the mathematics also, but not bio. That's why for the bio students, this chapter is the key part of the whole 11th as well as the 12th physics. So you have to, bio students, you have to mainly concentrate on this chapter, that is a mathematical tool. Then move on to the next chapter, that is a physical word and measurement. That's totally a different chapter for you. You don't have any knowledge about the basic of this chapter. So in this chapter, we have to deal with the 4 subparts. The 4 subparts are, the first one is the physical quantities. Second is how to measure these physical quantities. Then the third one is the dimensional analysis. DA stands for the dimensional analysis. And the last one is called as the errors. So once again, this chapter is totally a different one for you because you don't know about the basic of this chapter. So we have to spend more and more time on this one, and this chapter is very important for the competitive point of view also. So we will concentrate on that competitive part also. Then move on to the next one, that is a kinematics. About the basics of this chapter, you know about the basics of this chapter because in this chapter we have to again deal with the 4 parts. The first one is motion in 1D. You all know about the motion in 1D, motion in 1 dimension. That's about the speed, velocity, acceleration, distance, displacement, then the three equations of the motion. So you know about the basic of this part, that is a motion in 1D. Then move on to the motion in 2D, two-dimensional motion. In this we will discuss the vectors. I just want to tell you 11th, 12th or the further physics is totally based on this key factor that is called as a vector. So we will spend much time on this part that is called as a vectors, because if you want to solve any other topic, so you have to use the vectors. That's why I think you understood how important these vectors are. So we will spend more time on that one in each and every chapter, in 11th as well as in 12th. In each and every chapter, there is some key point. So when we know about the key point, so definitely we have to concentrate on that part more as compared to the other part. So once again, in this chapter, the key part is the vectors. Then move on to the projectile motion. That is again a 2D motion. You don't know anything about the projectile motion. So जो चीजें आपने पहले नहीं पढ़ी हैं, so we have to concentrate more and more on that one. Then move on to the next one. That's again a 2D motion called as a circular motion. So that's about the contents of the third chapter called as kinematics. We will discuss what is the meaning of this kinematics later on. So then move on to the next one. That is the laws of motion. Again, you already read the basics of this chapter in the lower classes in the 9th standard. What is the force? What are the different types of forces? What are the Newton's laws? And then certain things that we have already learned in the lower classes. Then move on to the next, that is the fifth one. The fifth chapter is about power and energy. ये भी आपने पढ़ा हुआ पहले. The simplest one. I don't think so we have to give much emphasis on this one, because you know about the basic of this chapter, work, power and energy. Then again a tough or a basic chapter and a new chapter for the 11th, that is the rotational motion. Again, you don't know anything about this chapter. When you don't know anything, when you don't have the basics, so I have already told you, we have to concentrate more on that part. So for the student point of view, students को chapter बहुत tough लगता है. So definitely we have to work more on this chapter, rotational motion. Again, a basic chapter, you know about that one, that is the gravitation. You have learned in the 9th standard. Whatever you have read in the 9th standard, then the advanced study is in the 11th standard. So we are 10th में पढ़ कर आए हो, that we will read these one, the basics in the 12th standard. So whatever you have read out in the 9th standard, we have to use it in the 11th standard. So gravitation is the same, no doubt. We have to add up more and more thing in that, but simply we know about the basics. So that will not create a problem for the 11th. Then move on to the second book. So in the first book, we have the chapters mathematical tools, physical word in the measurement is having the force of parts, then the kinematics, that is the motion in 1D, vectors, projectile, circular motion, then the laws of motion, then work, power and energy, then rotational motion and gravitation. So that's about the content of the chapters of the first book. Then move on to the second book. Second book is having the 4 chapters. The first one is the properties of matter, the lengthiest one. The lengthiest chapter of 11th physics is having the 5 sub-chapters or 5 sub-parts. The 5 sub-parts are the solid, fluid at rest, fluid in motion, thermal properties of matter, and the last one is the surface tension. Means this chapter will take at least 1 month to complete. So I think you understood how important this chapter is. So once again, this properties of matter is having the 5 subparts. All the topics are totally a new one for you, new basics. So again, we have to concentrate more on that. Then the part thermodynamics, the part of chemistry. About the thermodynamics, आपने इसको chemistry question में I think 9th या 10th के अंदर पढ़ा होगा. So I don't think so कि students will face problem in this chapter, that is thermodynamics. Then again the same chapter based on this heat and energy called as a kinetic theory of gases. The same basic as that of the thermodynamics. And again a very important chapter, a tough one for the 11th, the chapter is the oscillation and waves. So in oscillation and wave, we don't know about the basics again. So when again the same aspect, we have to concentrate more and more on this chapter, that is oscillation and waves. So that's about the contents of both the books, first book as well as second book. So today we will going to start the second part. We will not start with the mathematical tool. We will start the physical word and measurement, a very important objective based chapter. So we have to concentrate more and more on this chapter.